Tanisha Houston, and I'm here to do my review of The Haves and the Have Nots. Tonight's episode is entitled Undercover Vice. And I have to say that I really enjoyed this episode. Another good episode from Tyler Perry. I enjoyed the confrontations, and I enjoyed, especially the revelation that we received at the end of the episode. So, for all of that, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tyler Perry. And here we go. The first few people we go to is Hannah, Benny, the nurse, and Mitch. Hannah is visibly upset that Benny is with Veronica at the hospital. She says, "You don't learn, do you?" Benny says that she was in an accident and her car flipped over. Hannah wants to know why he was holding the snake's tail, aka her hand. Benny excuses it by saying that she wanted him to come to the hospital with her. Hannah warns Benny to stay away from Veronica and comments that Benny doesn't listen to her anymore and asks him why. Hannah says that we just buried Quincy and I'm not going to bury you. She asks him if they are sleeping together and Benny denies it. Hannah says that that woman is dangerous. Benny says that he knows that and that he was with Mitch when all of this happened. And Hannah accuses him of not listening to him. She explains she was at the hospital's morgue picking up the last of Quincy's possessions. She gives him the letter and he reads it out loud. Hannah wants to know where Candace is, and Benny says that she is at the Artesian Hotel. He says that it is not the right time, but Hannah thinks it's never the right time with Candace. Hannah is determined to go over there and warns him again to stay away from Veronica. She asks for the room number, blames Candace for Benny's troubles, and berates him for being with Veronica. Benny defends Veronica, thinking that she could be a good help to Benny, seeing as she is a good lawyer. Hannah retorts by saying, "A good lawyer who would burn you, and that she cares for no one but herself." Then a nurse says Veronica is asking for Benny. After the nurse leaves, Hannah scolds Benny and accuses them of being together. Hannah thinks she should have asked for her husband. And then she says, "Oh, he doesn't want to be bothered with her either." Hannah demands his sister's hotel room number and that she will sit in that lobby until she sees her, if it comes to that. Mitch comes by, and then she starts accusing Mitch of knowing Veronica as well. After that, Benny and Hannah leave. Now, before I go on to the next section, let me say this about Hannah. Benny is an adult. He's a grown man, and he's going to make his own choices. It's just the way that it is. She has such a control over Benny, and she won't let him, get off of that leash. I mean, he's a grown man. He's going to do as he pleases, whether she likes it or not. That's the way it is, and that's the way it should be. I mean, after a while, there shouldn't be hardly any control left over your kids after your kids have grown up. That's just the way it is, and that's my opinion on that subject. So Hannah, I just think that she needs to let Benny grow up, let him be a man, let him make mistakes, and let him learn from his mistakes. Now, the next two people we go to is Candace and some trick. A trick sits down and asks to buy, rather offers to buy her a drink, and Candace says yes. She wants the credit card and he pulls it out. He knows that Candace is a working girl and he is down for it. Candace says that she is very expensive. She asks him what he does for a living, and he says a truck driver, but Candace knows that he is lying. She examines his hands and knows that they haven't been on a wheel or touched anything heavy. She asks him again, "What do you do for a living?" and he counters by asking her about her profession. She says that she makes men happy and is worth every penny. He is pleased by what he hears and invites her to his room. She counters by inviting him back to her room. She says, "Be in my room at 1 hour, room 3031." He teases her by saying, "What if I'm not available then?" And then she says, "Then he'll be missing out." She orders him away and tells him to tell his wife that he'll be unavailable for the rest of the night. She knows that he is married by the lame ass pickup lines. She says, "Come into her hotel room on his knees." He is encouraged by her boldness. He says, "Yes, ma'am," and says that he will be there. Um, when I first looked at this guy, I just thought that he was just another nameless trick. But by the end of the episode, we'll know that he is very important to the story. Now, the next two people we go to is Charles and Landon. Charles and Landon. What's going on between those two? I have no idea. They are drinking together in his hotel room. They're talking about a woman Charles used to be with, but she was in love with someone else, an athlete who she ended up marrying. Landon says that you may not make as much money as you do right now, but when the 8 years in office is over with, he'll be making more money because he'll have book deals and speaking engagements, which is true. From what I've heard, presidents don't make a whole lot of money, from what I've heard. They toast to the voters. Landon says that he can't drink anymore and is amazed that Charles still can. Charles says back in the army and in college, he could outdrink a man 3 times his size. Landon asks him what the army was like. Charles says that he liked it very much, that it was a good time in his life, and it taught him a lot about discipline. He signed up because he wanted a change in his life. He also wanted to go get away from that girl. Landon compliments him, saying he must have quite an effect on all women. He compares him to royalty, saying that he, is an American prince, and all of the women and all of the staffers love him, and all the women want to be his first lady. Charles isn't interested in any of them. He doesn't mix business with pleasure. Landon drops hints, saying that it may be a good thing if a woman knew what the score was and how things had to be, a person who could be trusted and who could keep his secrets. Charles teases Landon by saying, "Don't let me catch you running around with these young girls," and Landon assures him that it won't happen. Charles says that he is ready for that nap and he goes to undress. Landon takes the bar set up away for cleaning. Landon lingers in the room, watching Charles undress, get shirtless, and sprawling out on the bed, and then he leaves. Now, this scene here was a very, very strange scene. They've been having some strange scenes lately. I don't really know what's going on here. And apparently, according to a previous episode, Charles knows that Landon is gay. So what is he doing? Is he playing him? What's going on here? I have no earthly idea. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm sure it's going to heat up later on, but I'm just not sure about what's going on here. I mean, what is he doing? What is Charles doing? Is it Charles or is it Chucky? We'll have to see. The next group of people we go to is D.A. George, Jeffrey, and a couple of police officers. They pull Jeffrey out of his cell and back into the interrogation room. D.A. George asks him a series of questions, which Jeffrey does not answer. He only wants his lawyer. DA George wants to know why Veronica would give him up to the police like a tossed salad. He tells George that his father is his lawyer, not his mother, Veronica. He asks Jeffrey if it was because of revenge, for him agreeing to testifying against her. Jeffrey says he is not talking without a lawyer. Then George brings up Judge Bosch and Justin, her husband, and asks, "Aren't you sleeping with him?" Jeffrey wants to go back to his cell, but George makes it clear Jeffrey will go back to his cell, but not until after George is ready for him to go. Then George brings up Veronica's accident. Jeffrey asks about her well being, and George says he is sending officers over to the hospital to talk to her. George says Veronica was in a car accident with Jeffrey's fiance and it flipped over. Then George asks, "Does your fiance know that you're having an affair with with a judge's husband?" George is very messy. He is so messy in this. George knows that Jeffrey is gay, and so did D.A. Salison, and that Veronica was making him live this lie. George wants to know why, but Jeffrey again asks for his lawyer. George says, "You already had 2 phone calls, but apparently David isn't answering." George allows him one more phone call and orders the police officers to take him back to his cell. The next group of people we go to is David, Erica, and Justin. David and Erica are still having their picnic on the living room floor. They flirt and have small talk with each other as David, floats the idea of Erica, staying with him and helping him decorate. Erica says that what if we don't like each other and we end up, splitting apart from each other? But David is sure that that won't happen. She spins some story about her leaving, but knowing that he may find her. He knows her sister and that her sister is the only family that she has. David again offers to let her stay, even though it is a lot to offer. She reluctantly says yes, and they toast and kiss. David says that he's going back to his condo until the furniture comes, but she is fearful to go back there. She would like to stay there in that house, but there is no furniture. David says that he'll handle it for her. Then Justin appears outside the door. He tells David that Jeffrey is in jail for the murder of Quincy Maxwell and that Veronica put him in there. Erica, who is hiding in the corner, says that her ex is a police officer, which we all know that is a lie. David says that the officer was here about my son and that he has to leave. Outside, David leaves an angry message on Veronica's answering machine saying to pick up the damn phone. She's gone way too far, and then he drives off. So David has finally figured it out that Jeffrey is in jail. It's a shame that Jeffrey didn't listen to David when he warned him of going anywhere near Veronica. He probably wouldn't be in jail right now if he had listened to his father. But the next 2 people we go to is Justin and Wyatt, which is one of my favorite scenes, absolutely. Wyatt calls looking for Jeffrey, but Justin has his phone. He wonders who it was that answered and realizes that it was Justin, that damn cop. Wyatt tells him to put Jeffrey on the phone. Justin orders Wyatt not to call him again. Wyatt says that this jealous crap is ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And to put Jeffrey on the phone. Again, he tells Wyatt not to call again or he'll come over and bash his head in and hangs up the phone. Then Wyatt calls right back. Justin says, "Are you at home?" And Wyatt says, "Yes." Justin says, "I'm coming over there to show you who the hell I am." Wyatt says, "Before you come over in your little pink police car, tell Jeffrey to answer the phone. Then Wyatt calls again and leaves a message on his answering machine saying, "Why aren't you picking up your phone? And why are you letting that thing answer your phone?" It was one of the most hilarious scenes of the night. I was laughing nearly the whole time. I couldn't believe how far Justin is taking this, and I loved Wyatt's comment, at the end, calling Justin that thing. I mean, it was hilarious. I laughed. One of my favorite scenes. Absolutely. Now, the next two people we go to is Catherine and Derek. Derek stops by Catherine's house to fix some things that broke down. Kate asks about him and Hannah and wonder if he found her attractive. He realizes that she is playing matchmaker. He says that it was a loose ring down the sink, making it clog. And Kate, reluctantly admits that it was her who put the ring down in the sink so they could meet each other. Derek says that she is a very nice lady. Catherine asks, "Did you get her number?" But neither of them were thinking that way. He gives Kate permission to give Hannah his number, and if she wants to call, then it's cool with him. Catherine says that Hannah is a traditional Southern woman and won't call him. You're going to have to go after her. Then he brings up Veronica, trying to set him up as well. The mood changes between those two, and she sharply questions him about his association with Veronica. He says that she was not flirting with him, but wanted to set him up with someone as well. Kate warns him not to trust Veronica. He informs Catherine that she was in a car accident and the car flipped over and that she's in the hospital. He suggests that she give her a call, and Catherine says, yeah, she'll get right on that. Derek doesn't know anything about Veronica and how horrible she can be. He's pretty green coming into this, but I think sooner or later he'll figure exactly out, what's going on with Veronica and how crazy she is. He'll figure it out sooner or later. Now, the next two people we go to is Melissa and the doctor. Melissa is being examined by the doctor, but could care less about her own health or the baby's. He says that the tests look good and that he knows that she's pregnant. Melissa says, yes, she is pregnant and that she's 8 or 9 weeks. And the doctor wants to run more tests, but Melissa says that she is fine. She doesn't want to run any more tests and could care less about any of this. She just wants to leave. The doctor approves her leaving. Then she asks about Veronica and says, where is that bitch? He tells her that she is on the third floor. She is displeased that Veronica is going to live. She will make a full recovery, the doctor says. And the doctor thinks that she should be happy about that. But Melissa says, be happy my ass. The exam is concluded and the doctor leaves. Melissa, is going crazy. She's lost it. She really, really lost it in this episode. I mean, I really, really feel sorry for her. I mean, she was just caught up in Veronica's web. I mean, how can I not feel sorry for her? Now, the next few people we go to is Candace, Rocky, the bartender, a new whore, a new prostitute, and an undercover policeman. Candace is at the bar when Rocky shows up. He notes that she has been drinking a lot more than usual, and she orders another drink. He warns her that an undercover vice officers are in the hotel and are asking about a hooker robbing John's. He points to people in the room, and Candace spots one herself at the end of the bar. Then she sees a brand new prostitute, a new whore, sitting a few tables away. She says that she's very pretty and wants to start squeezing her like some dried up old pimp for money. Then Leonardo, an undercover vice officer, approaches Candace. She quickly reads him the riot act, bullies him, and orders him away from her. Then the vice cop goes to the new prostitute. Rocky wants to tell the new prostitute the truth, but Candace says that she just wants to see how this plays out. I mean, she's setting her sights on this new woman, and I don't know who this new woman is or what her reaction is going to be from all of this, but I'm sure it's going to be very explosive. The next two people we go to is Melissa and Veronica. Veronica is laid up in a hospital bed. Melissa walks in and says, and it is very known that Melissa has absolutely lost her mind. Veronica accuses Melissa of trying to kill her, but Melissa says that I tried to kill both of us. Veronica thinks that she is absolutely crazy, and Melissa says that, hey, that makes two of us. Veronica says that she won't take care of her mother anymore, but Melissa doesn't care about that at all. Veronica says that she will call her mother to get her back in line. Melissa says that she is a crazy girl who is out of control and and has a rebellious streak in her a mile long. Melissa says that her daddy died and that she didn't have a chance to say goodbye to him. Veronica says it was not her problem, but Melanie disagrees. Melissa disagrees, excuse me. Veronica says people die, but Melissa thinks that it should have been Veronica who died and not her father. Veronica says that seeing as she is pregnant, it's the only thing that's keeping Veronica off of her ass. Melissa says that she needs money and steals it right out of Veronica's purse. Veronica threatens Melissa, but she replies, "Don't forget that I'm carrying this baby, bitch." Then Melissa screams, just screams out of nowhere, shrieks at the top of her lungs and says, "I hate you, bitch." She leaves and then she screams again out in the hallway. I mean, you can really tell how crazy Melissa, has become. Veronica then calls someone to have Melissa committed and says, "Dumb bitch, she doesn't even know when she's being set up, stupid ass," and then goes back to sleep. I'm happy that Melissa is finally standing up to Veronica, but she took too long to do that. She should have just gotten a job. She shouldn't have just gotten a job and taken care of herself and her baby instead of going through, with this plan, you know, to be Veronica's broodmare. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And as a result, it has cost Melissa her sanity. And I just feel sorry for her. The next group of people we go to is D.A. George, Sarah Duffy, Oscar, and Jim. D.A. George and Sarah Duffy go over the cases that are in front of them. He talks about D.A. Salence's body with Crier written on it, Jeffrey's murder, and Jeffrey and Wyatt's testifying. He thinks that the family is completely messed up, which they are, but wants more evidence. Sarah wants to go to the grand jury for an indictment right now, but George thinks that Veronica is a snake, and he doesn't want her to wiggle out of the charges. He asks Sarah for some DNA evidence, and Sarah says that she is working on it. In the hallway, Oscar hands Sarah Duffy a telephone. Jim is calling, wanting to talk to her and wanting to meet her in his hotel room at the Artesian Hotel at lunchtime. Sarah tries to evade this by saying that it is not possible. Then she gives the phone back to Oscar. And Oscar says, "If I were you, I'd be there." So Sarah Duffy, is in the crosshairs. She's become a new pawn in this game. And Jim is trying to use her to his advantage. I'm not sure what's going on between those two, but it's obviously nothing. It's obviously something that's not good. So we'll have to see. Now, the last scene of the night is Candace, Hanna, Benny, the trick, and that's it. At the Artesian Hotel, Candace answers the door for Benny and Hannah. Candace doesn't want to see either of them, but Hannah gives her the letter that Quincy wrote. Candace reads it and she cries. She still blames Hannah and Benny for Quincy's death and has no time for this. Hannah asks if she is busy, and Candace says, "Yes, I'm turning tricks." Hannah says, "You still haven't learned, have you? My God, what is it going to take?" Candace answers, "You dying." Hannah says that in the Bible you are supposed to forgive the ones who offend you, and she wonders where all this anger comes from. She said that she's sorry, she's prayed, she stopped praying, and she doesn't know what else to do. Candace doesn't care and just wants her to leave. Benny is fed up with the both of them. He's tired of carrying Hannah over to Candace and them always fighting. And Benny has had enough of that. It's about time, Benny. Benny, tries to get both of them to leave, but neither one of them will go. Benny says that Hannah has a nice house, but Candace replies, "Don't worry, Hannah, I won't be stepping foot inside of the house that your master bought for you." Hannah says, "I gave you this letter hoping that it would shake something in you." But Candace says, "It's not going to shake anything in me. I blame you for killing my son." Candace says, "If you had let me put him in foster care, then maybe he would have been safe and still alive." And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I think that it was Candace's decision on what she wanted to do with Quincy, not Hannah and Benny's. I think that Hannah and Benny should have listened to Candace, and let Candace just put him in foster care. I mean, I agree with Candace on that 100%. Absolutely. It was not their child to make decisions for. It was for Candace to make the decision. And neither one of them listened. So, for that, Candace, I agree with you. Absolutely. Hannah says, "Just let it go. She needs to make it and believe it the way she wants to." Then there's a knock on the door, and the trick comes in. He sees everyone in the room and he just wants to leave. Candace wants him, wants for him to stay and for Hannah and Benny to leave. Hannah says, "Maybe you should let him go. He is your father." So, wow, that was such a huge revelation. I was completely shocked by what I heard. Apparently, that man is Candace's father. And because of that revelation, I can't wait to see what happens next week. Thank you all so much for watching my video. If you liked my video, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will be back next week, hopefully at an earlier date with the new video in the next installment. My MVP of the episode is Wyatt because I loved how he talked to Justin. It was about time someone talked to him like that and let him know how crazy he is. So for that, I have named Wyatt my MVP. Come back next week for my next video, and I hope you enjoyed what you saw here. Enjoy your life as I do, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much.